Hello everybody and greetings. Greetings today from, we're boondocking just outside Moab at some BLM land. Very nice actually. But the reason for this video is not that. We're gonna talk about that in a future video. The reason for this video, it's one of the most asked questions that I get. It's what cameras do I use? What do I use to record the videos? And since there has been one recent addition to that collection of gear, we're gonna do an update of that my gear video, and I just got an email.
I'm riding in my RV, wherever I want to be, 'cause I'm free in my RV.
As I was saying, yeah, I just got an email. This is my setup here on the RV, by the way. As you can see, I'm using two monitors. I'm using the laptop, a late model MacBook Pro right now, and this is an AOC USB monitor that it's worked pretty well. It's not the highest quality by any means, but it's really helpful to see the video full screen when I'm editing, because that's how a lot of you are watching on a large screen. So you get a better perspective of stabilization and what works and what doesn't while you're editing. But I'm gonna talk about my editing process towards the end of the video, so stick around for that. But right now, let me show you my cameras, and this one that is on an elevated position here, and I'm gonna use my little Sony, which I don't use it for this purpose as much anymore, but just to show you guys around. Actually, let's begin with the main camera, which is this one. And there you go. This is a Sony AX53, the same model I've been using. I've been using it since my old AX33 died, or rather I killed it in Sedona 2 years ago. But this has been very reliable and has a great stabilization, great zoom. Well, not as reliable because this is the second one. They're rather fragile, but they're so good. You know, you just have to take care of them. And my favorite feature is stabilization, number one, and number two, the zoom lens. It has that clear zoom lens that it's a 30x zoom lens. And if you saw that video on where was it? In the Grand Tetons, you know, the video begins, I'm gonna put a link to that. The video begins with a very tight shot of the top of the Grand Teton, and then we zoom out and we zoom out. And it zooms out like what seems like forever. And that's one of my favorite features, because I really like to get close to subjects. And that's basically my main camera. The Sony AX53 is my number one handheld camera that I use most of the time. And especially when I'm at some beautiful place like this, or even in the car, I always have it right next to me in the truck, because if I see something and I know that the GoPro on the roof is something that is far away enough that the GoPro on the roof is not gonna be able to see, I just grab the handheld and, you know, point to it, you know, still keeping my eyes on the road, of course, but that's how I do it. This is how we do it. And okay, number two camera is this one right here, and right now it's in an elevated position, and that's the mount that I have for when I do my cooking show. So normally on that mount right there, it would be facing down towards the range. And that's the GoPro. That's the number two camera, and probably the most versatile camera, in the sense that that's the camera on the roof of the trailer. That's the one on the roof where you see where we're going. And on the roof, I have it on this mount right here, which is exactly the same mount. It's exactly that same mount that I have on top of the range. And that mount, it has like a shoe underneath. And that shoe, the one on the roof, has a 3M tape that, as you know, I've been using that setup for 6 years now. By the way, 6-year RV-versary, it was last week, and I totally forgot to tell you guys about it. But yeah, that's the one, and you put it on the roof of the trailer, and it hasn't. At the beginning, I thought it was gonna fly off and, you know, end up in the middle of I-75 somewhere, and 6 years later, that setup has worked out really well. And then when I'm doing a hike, and lately, since I have this microphone that I'm gonna talk about in a little bit, that has been my go-to camera, like for selfie talking on the road, you know, when I'm doing a trail or something like that. And I'm using this mount here, this contraption. This, what it does, it houses here on the bottom the audio adapter, which connects via USB to the camera here on the side. And maybe I'll show you how it looks later. I'll put the GoPro here. And then I use this same microphone that I'm using. And here on the top of this mount, you mount this microphone receiver, which as you can see is recording right now, and it has a VU meter, so I know exactly what it's doing. And that goes on a regular camera shoe, you know, and that's what I use. I also have a lavalier mic somewhere here that I will talk about later, actually. Third camera is this one. I don't use it in this format as much anymore. This is the camera that I used to use for selfie video most of the time. And it has a great microphone here on the front. And I even put this fuzzy little thing, it's like a little dead cat. But it does well in non-windy conditions. But if it gets a little windy or a little noisy, the microphone doesn't do as well as this one. This thing is the Rode. I'll tell you about it in a little bit, but yeah, this is the Sony X3000. That is still a great camera, and it's still the one that I use inside the truck. That's the one I flip around, you know, to show you the road or to show myself. And I'm going to show you, actually I'm going to cut it right now. I'm going to show you how I do that, because that's another thing that everybody asks about. Okay, so this is what it looks like with the Sony. And what I do with the Sony, if I want to, you know, I just, okay, there. So there you go, that's the Sony in its mount. It's just a regular suction cup mount there, and the suction cup mount has a regular tripod screw thread on the bottom. So if I want to tilt it, I just go like this, and then you see me. And then if I want to show you the road, I just go like that. It's very simple system. Of course, as I told you, this Sony, or as I'm about to tell you, this Sony, the battery doesn't last very long. So I usually have a USB cable that I have it always connected to USB. So I never run into that situation that, you know, many times I have run into that situation that I think I'm recording and I'm really not. All right, that's all. That's all there is to my camera setup here in the car. So let's go back to inside Minitini now. Okay, those are my three main cameras. The Sony X3000, the GoPro Hero 7 Black Edition, and the Sony AX53. Now my fourth camera, and this is also one that I started using as of the next episode you're gonna watch, which is in southern Georgia and western Georgia actually. It's an iPhone Pro Max, iPhone 11 Pro Max. And I bought this mainly because I have a new internet. All this I'm uploading using, it's Yahoo Mobile, that's what it's called. It used to be called Visible. They're basically the same company, Yahoo Mobile. $40 a month, and you get unlimited internet. The only limit that the Yahoo Mobile system has is that if you're tethering, you're limited to 5 megabits per second, which I'll be lucky to get 5 megabits per second anywhere except in a big city. So to me, it's not a big limitation, having that limitation. But, you know, in order to get that service, they wanted me to buy a phone, right? Or I could have used my old phone, but I wanted to keep my Android on AT&T. So I decided, you know, they twisted my arm. So I said, you know, might as well get a phone with a good camera, right? So I got the iPhone 11 Pro Max, and the camera on this thing, and I know the iPhone 12 is coming out any day now, so it's probably going to be even better. But the camera on this, it rivals the quality of this and that. And sometimes, you know, sometimes I'm somewhere, and if this is my only camera, and you're going to start seeing it in videos coming soon, especially on the Pelican head updates, which I'm going to start including in the videos coming soon. Yeah, it's as good as, I mean, you couldn't tell the difference. I mean, the camera on my old Samsung S9, Galaxy S9 is not bad, and it would work in a pinch. I've used it many times, but this is so much better. You have 3 cameras, so you have 3 different focal lenses, and the selfie camera is a lot better than the one on the Samsung. Okay, that's for cameras. Now let me show you my microphone, and I already talked about this one, and this microphone is really good. It does come with a fuzzy dead cat on the top for when it is windy, and it works amazingly well. If you saw our video, the one that we went to Miyaka River State Park, and we went to the pier in Venice Beach, and it was really windy, and you could barely hear the wind. This is the microphone I used. Right now I don't have it with the fuzzy thing because it is kind of fuzzy and it falls off sometimes. It's not the best design, and the other design flaw is this. If I bend over a little bit, and then the microphone is kind of top heavy. So unless you have like a more sturdy shirt collar, if you have a t-shirt, if you bend over or something like that, the microphone is top heavy, so it will tend to flip down, and it still sounds pretty good in the flip down position, believe it or not. Oh, it's getting brighter out here. It's kind of cloudy and cold today, and I see that I have a lot of light on this side. Maybe, yeah, there you go. Sometimes you can control the light just by closing your shade. And the Rode, of course, the Rode comes with as I said, with that receiver on the other side, and the battery lasts. And here we're gonna do a comparison of the three cameras, so you can see the three different lenses, which are all the three of them are really good. The battery on this thing lasts for 8 hours, so sometimes I don't even turn it off in the whole day. And that is great, especially if I'm at the Tampa RV show. That's when I first used it, at the Tampa RV show, and the quality is almost as good as this microphone, which I'm gonna show you here in a few minutes. And the furnace just kicked in. Another microphone that I use, especially that I bought to fix that problem, if I'm like doing some repair in the RV or I have something that I have to bend over or something like that, this is the Rode lavalier mic. And here, you can look at it here. This Rode lavalier mic will plug directly to this, actually, to the transmitter. This transmitter, it has up here, it has a 3.5 millimeter plug that I could plug this right in here, and then I could speak through this lavalier, and it would sound. I like the way the Rode by itself sounds better, but it works too. So there you go. Those are my main microphones, and now my main cameras. Now there's one more camera. It's my newest camera, and that's the main reason I'm making this video right now. And it is a camera attached to 4 propellers, believe it or not. That's this right here. This is the new drone that I got. It's and then now that I've had it for over a month, or almost 2 months actually, I can give you a more proper review. At the beginning I was, you get that honeymoon phase with any piece of electronic where you think everything is wonderful, and then you realize that, I still like it a lot, but it's not perfect by any means. This is the DJI Mavic 2 Zoom. And as I told you with this camera, the Sony being my main camera, I like using zoom. I like using zoom on my videos. I get closer to things. The zoom in here is 2x. It's not like the greatest zoom. And when you use, and let me use this camera just for fun. When you use that the dolly zoom feature, which I like a lot actually. We use the dolly. I don't know. I have no proof, but I think it's using like a digital zoom kind of thing. It's not using the optical zoom that it has. It's not the greatest optical zoom, but sometimes you wanna fly high so you don't bother people, but you wanna get in closer. And if you fly sideways, you get a great parallax effect when you're using the zoom lens. I like it for the most part. The quality is very good. It flies a lot faster than the original Mavic, and it works great. Actually, the only one thing I don't like, I don't think the battery lasts as long as advertised, and it really discharges a lot quicker when you're not using it. If you don't use it for 3 or 4 days, that battery will discharge almost to 50%. I think that's what the problem is. And it is a little slightly larger than the original Mavic that I had. But I like the fact that it has sensors on all sides. So I haven't tested it, and I'm not gonna test it, but I have a feeling it will be nearly impossible to crash this thing. And it has a bunch of modes that I haven't really played with all of them yet, to be honest about it. Now, what I like the most, and this is the one thing that I splurged on, is this. This is the DJI Mavic controller, and I forgot the exact name, but I'm sure I'll put it on the description. It has a screen, so I don't have to use my phone to monitor. To monitor the video, and believe it or not, that makes a heck of a difference, especially when someone calls you and in the middle of your flight. You know, you kind of, especially if your drone is really far away, and even though you're not supposed to, you lose line of sight. Sometimes you do. I mean, sometimes it gets small in the sky. You look away and you look back into the sky, and there's no drone anymore. And at least with this, you have less of a chance of, you know, losing that visual connection. Of course, here it wants me to connect to the aircraft, which I don't have it on, and I'm not gonna. But it works exactly the same as the regular controller. The main thing is it has that screen there, and actually I don't have you can put a memory card here, and you get to record a 1080p version of your flight, in case, you know, your phone, I mean, your drone crashes or anything like that. And after 2 months, I haven't really played with all the functions yet, but I like it. I like the feel. It's much larger, much sturdier, and the screen, it works really well, even in bright sunlight. So that's my fourth camera. I'm gonna see if it's not too windy. We're about to leave. We're about to go east towards Colorado, where it's been snowing. So let's see how that goes. You'll see that in a future video in about 2 months or 3 months. But I'm gonna try to fly right now the drone a little bit around this BLM area, which stands for Bureau of Land Management. And it's our free land, you know, where we can boondock for free. And most of them, I'm gonna check my app, but most of them you can fly with no problem, you know. And we're right outside two of the great national parks, you know, Arches and Canyonlands. We are kind of in between them. And of course, I got the Fly More package, which comes with this very handy bag where you can put your controller, your drone, your batteries. It's pretty good. Okay, now I'm gonna flip this camera around so I can show you my screen here and show you a little bit of the process of how I edit my videos, my process of importing the video cards, which I do pretty much every night. I import them into this one of these 5 terabyte hard drives. That this is my third one already on this trip. All right, let's do that. Let's do a little cut and show you that. By the way, maybe I forgot to mention the benefits of the GoPro Hero 7, and I didn't really give you the pros and cons. The pros is the stabilization. You would swear that camera is on a gimbal. Most of the time, it does fall apart in the dark a little bit because, of course, for stabilization, it's using electronic stabilization. And once you get motion blur on that video, the stabilization falls apart once you get motion blur. And this one, well, this is still a great camera, and I love the optics and I love the lens. I don't know, it didn't happen with old Kia, but with the Colorado, you get a little bit of a blur on the left side. I'm pretty sure it's a refraction with the Colorado windshield, but other than that, I still, and the Sony, the only con is that the battery doesn't really last very long. And the app, the Sony app, is a little finicky sometimes. And my other con with the GoPro up there, it's sometimes it is not reliable. Oh, I forgot to tell you something else about the GoPro. This is what I use, and I was charging it right now. This is a power bank. It's an Anker power bank. This is my poor man's waterproofing here. I put an electric tape over the USB ports just in case it rains. And this goes Velcroed to the roof of the trailer, and then it powers the camera. 99% of the time it works well, but sometimes it makes the camera crash. I don't know why. That GoPro is very finicky when it comes to power, and it wants. And this is I tried the 3 power banks before this one, and when I went to VidCon last year, I asked the rep, and the rep told me that to use an Anker, and I don't know why. I guess they are better quality, and that's what I'm gonna use now. to power it on our way to Colorado, because otherwise I have to climb on the roof every hour to change the GoPro battery. So that works. Now let me show you how I do my editing here a little bit. My process. This is my MacBook Pro here. I'm using Adobe Premiere. That's the main software that I'm using to edit videos. Mainly the only software I'm using to edit videos. And what I do every night, I come here, I take out my card, and I plug it into, this is also an Anchor hub here, because as you know, the new MacBook Pros, they only come with USB Type-C ports. I'm surprised that they even have a headphone jack in the back there. But so you need to have all kinds of dongles and adapters to connect, your legacy equipment like a video card. So this Anchor adapter is very nice. It has for micro SD, for SD. It even has two regular USBs and even an HDMI. So if I ever wanted to connect this camera to the TV back there, I could. I mean the computer to the TV, I could. This is Adobe Premiere Pro, which is it's very powerful software. It's not perfect by any means, but it works. It works very well. This is the St. Augustine video here. You have my timeline, and then I have all the clips organized. If I go to, I don't know if you guys can see, but I'm just gonna real good. For example, here is my Anastasia folder, and then I have organized by date, and then by camera. I have a folder for the X53, the GoPro, and the X3000. And one thing that I do that I like to do, and it's very important to organize your media and then be able to work with 3 cameras at the same time. Sometimes I'm driving and I have the 3 cameras going at the same time. I have a program, and that only works on PC. It's called Renamer, and I rename all the files with the date and time. The file name itself. So it is very handy because you can synchronize them a lot easier. Let me tell you, that helps a lot.
65.
And then I as I edit the video, let me show you here. I'll pretend this timeline is already done, but then I would come here and come into my X3000, and it tells me which clips I've already used. And that's one of the things about Premiere. Sometimes it takes a little bit to load the clips, and then I come here, I put it in my preview window, and I select in with the eye, and I look for until what point I wanna, and that's my out point, and that's just a little bit of that clip that I wanna use, and I drop it into my timeline. It's really that's that simple, and then it is here in my timeline. But now, as you know, I do voiceover and other things. For example, here I have my music folder. Maybe this is a driving clip, so I want to use. Let's use the road to El Paso, and there it is. But then the other part that I use, I do voiceovers. A lot of the videos, they have a voiceover component, which it's because when I'm filming, it's kind of hard to think of everything that you want to say eventually. So I do voiceover, and for that I use Logic Pro X here, and let me make sure everything is plugged in so I can record a little bit here and show you guys. And here, these are my, and they're getting that. These are my favorite headphones of all time, by the way, for this type of work that I've used for 20 years in my studio. The MDR7506 by Sony. They're very comfortable. You can wear them for a long time. And let me see if I can monitor myself here. Perfect. And then to record, I have this. This is an old. Let me see. I don't even remember what model it is. They don't make it anymore. It's the Audio-Technica 3525 condenser large diaphragm microphone. I've had this for 20 years, ever since I came up with this crazy idea to start a recording studio. And let me record a little bit here, and this is how it sounds, of course. And that's not how it sounds out of the microphone. Oh, my level here is really high. Oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. that's not how it sounds out of the box. Of course, here I'm on my channel here, and let me see if I can show you a little more of my channel strip. I'm applying this equalizer right here, which is I'm boosting a little bit of the lows, and then the high end from 3 kilohertz up. I'm really boosting it up. Then I have a noise gate here, so if there's a little bit of noise outside, and let's face it, most of the time when you are at a campground, you know, your neighbor is gonna have some kind of noise, or there will be a train passing by, and that's, you see, it is dead silent when I stop talking. And the last one here on the output, I have a compressor, and the compressor, what it does, it makes it sound almost the same level, whether I'm talking really whispering into the microphone like right now, or whether I am speaking louder. It basically equalizes that. Not equalizes, that wouldn't be the right word in audio terms, but it makes both of them sound the same loudness, so you don't have to like raise the volume of your TV when I'm talking softly, or lower the volume, or if you're in the car, well, don't watch the videos if you are driving. But anyways, this is also the same setup I do to record the podcast, by the way. And that's the audio setup. But of course, I'm not gonna remember everything that I want to say. So as I am recording the videos, I start as I'm editing the video, I'm writing myself here a little script, you know, and I number them because I don't do it all in one shot. And then what I do, I read from that script. For example, this is the end of our Florida road trip. From here we go north, embarking in the Great American Road Trip 2020. For more, there you see that's how I do it. So this is just a quick preview of how the sausage is made, in a sense. How the way that I produce the videos. And let me stop this and save it, because I want to use this as part of this video that I'm making here to show you guys my gear, and then show you guys more or less how I edit the videos, which is one of those questions that I get almost daily, at the very least weekly. Somebody will ask me what cameras I use, and what software I use, and of course this process, it does take a long time, but I really enjoy doing it. And that's why the videos are sometimes 3 and 4 months behind, because I make one of these road trips where I am right now. You know, that takes a long time to drive all the way from South Florida to Utah, here where I am. And what I'll do then, I'll spend 3 or 4 months at home, pretty much working 9 to 5, editing the videos, which yeah. Well, I'm sure I am forgetting something, and somebody, if I have one more thing, and this one I don't use it as much, and maybe I can show you my box of gear here real quick. But the other camera that I use from time to time is this one. This is old, guys. This is in electronic terms, this is ancient. This is an old Nikon D5100. I bought it probably, I think, in late 2010. And this is what I use for the night time lapses, because it has a full, very nice manual mode. And lately on this trip, I've been using this fisheye lens, but I'm not crazy about it. It creates a lot of distortion, but you get a very wide view of the night sky, and that is really nice. I put it at infinity, and I believe I open up the lens all the way up, because sometimes if you have the aperture at 5.68, it creates a slight difference between frames, and then you get like a stuttering effect in the time lapse. So I open it up all the way to 3.5. Yeah, I wonder why. Yeah, the highest aperture, which is the lowest number, by the way. And it depends on the night sky, if it is very dark or very bright. I usually expose for 10 to 20 seconds. You know, I take a couple of test shots, make sure that the stars look okay, and then I do the time lapse. You know, frame every 20 seconds or so, and that's when you get that you know, the night sky moving. And Yeah, this is but this I use, like, for example, it's rare that you get a perfect night with low light pollution and a safe place. Like last night I was thinking about doing it, but first of all, here at the BLM, I don't know, that we're right next to the road. Someone could theoretically come and see a nice camera, or what seems to be a nice camera, and take it, you know, grow legs. And besides, it's cloudy, so we wouldn't be able to see any stars last night. So, okay, that's the Nikon F5100. And now let me show you here real quick, and I might do it with the GoPro actually, which this is the camera we would use for the RV cooking show. This is my box of gear here. Let me move this out of the way. And I have, you know, this is the old AX53, which it's kind of on live support. I have it there just in case I want to use two cameras at one point. These are, you know, an extra set of glasses because you never know. Here's the charger for that Nikon. Here I have some mounts, like this is a GoPro mount to put on a cap, on a hat. Here's a light. I don't, probably the battery. Oh no, it's working. This is a light just in case I need to use a light. At the home studio, of course, I have that circular light. Here we have some crazy glue, because crazy glue it's one of those things that you have to have. And here's the other microphone that I bought from Rode. I have never used this, only once or twice. I didn't like the way it worked. If I use it with the GoPro, it kind of shows in the frame, so it's not a great product in my opinion, but I already bought it. So this is an underwater mount enclosure for the Sony X3000. Here's some extra GoPro mounts, by the way, and these are the mounts that I use, you know, with this 3M tape. These are and now I can't find the mount, but that's the mount that you would use to put on the roof of the trailer. You know, I have all kinds of, here, this I don't use as often anymore, but I use it sometimes. This is a Zoom H1 recorder. I use it to do interviews sometimes, like at the RV shows, and I put this handy windscreen, so it kind of looks like a handheld microphone. It's very nice actually. This is an underwater mount for the GoPro that floats, and you know, like a selfie stick. And that's pretty much it. I think I covered most of the essentials here in my cameras and my production workflow. If you have any questions, do comment below, and I'll answer as many as I can. And now the adventure continues. Next week we go back to a regular travel video. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. And see you on the road. And the road today brought us to Utah.